Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics. Doing a quick series on drills I like for the RDS handgun. In this video, we're going to talk about the test. Also known as the 10-10-10 drill, made popular by Larry Vickers, whose story goes got it from Ken Hackathorn. They both take a slightly different approach to the drill, and you can kind of use either one. Ken Hackathorn's standards are a little bit tighter. Larry's standards are a little bit more realistic for speed. What we're looking at is shooting on the NRA B8, 10 rounds, from 10 yards, and the idea is to score as high as possible. For Vickers standards, everything has to be in the black. For Ken Hackathorn standards, by the B8 scoring, you got to get 90 out of 100. Now this drill traditionally is shot from a ready position, finger ready position. So for me, when I shoot it, I start out with the sight picture, finger off the trigger, standing by for the tone. And the par time, of course, starting out is 10 seconds, which is a lot of time to fire 10 rounds, but you are doing it from 10 yards. So we got our three most common metrics: time, distance, accuracy. What I like about it for the red dot is you can really fill out the drill visually. If you're a B8 shooter, and I think everybody should for certain purposes, for certain standards, this drill isolates the skill set of recoil management, as well as establishing and settling a sight picture as quickly as possible because of recoil management. And of course, trigger control is a factor as well, because if your grip is compromised, the trigger is going to drive the gun in ways you don't want it to go. Of course, you can shoot this drill from the holster. However, shooting it from point of aim and isolation is also very useful, or you can break it into two steps. You can shoot it from a starting point of aim and then add in a draw stroke and see how much considerable time differences you see between the two methods. When I shoot this drill on the red dot, the first thing I like to do is isolate and try to maximize my use of time. One thing as humans that we have a really tough time doing is maximizing our use of time. If I give someone a 10-second par time, they're probably going to end up finishing with time left over that they could have used to correct mistakes. And I think that's just the desire in shooting, to get it done as quickly as possible. And I totally understand that, because if we translate the skill ultimately to what it may be for, self-defense, time is never necessarily on our side, almost never on our side. So we want to be able to put rounds down range as quickly and as accurately as possible. But if we're just isolating the skill and skill development, maximizing that time gives us an idea of what our perfect sight pictures look like between each press. And this is something I've talked about before. This drill helps us do that. And because we're shooting on a B8, we're shooting on a circle. So we get to see heat travel, or heat map, if you will, how much general travel we're going to see. If your dot is drifting just straight up and down, that's ideal recoil management. If you're starting to see the dot's departure from black to cardboard or black to paper, then you know that there's some grip issues that are happening, and you're going to be able to kind of confirm that with the shot groups you actually see on target. So here's just an example of me running the drill first thing I did in the rain. So here's a real quick example of me. I'm using my Sage Dynamics edition agency arms, which is a compensated Glock 45. Some people may make the argument, why aren't you shooting on a stock gun? Well, I don't carry stock guns, so shooting stock guns is something I do, but if I'm measuring my skill for something that I carry, it doesn't make much sense to go back to a bone stock gun. So I'm going to shoot an exact replica of the same gun that I carry for self-defense, which is a compensated Glock 45 done by agency arms. I'm just going to try to maximize my time. I'm going to shoot my 10 rounds from 10 yards, and I'm trying to do it all in 10 seconds, starting from point of aim, finger on the frame. Now, to really push myself, I try to meet the Hackathorn standards. That's the scoring standards I prefer, because I feel like the Vickers standards, while useful, are to me a little too generous. Now, they're not very generous if you increase distance or if you shorten your time. So if you want to go from the standard 10-second par time and try to shoot it in 5, the Vickers standards are achievable, but it is a little bit more difficult. I like to shoot it to the Hackathorn standards, which is 90 out of 100. That's the score I'm going for using the standard B8 scoring model. What I'm going to try to do is get it sub 4 seconds. And this is kind of a motivation I got from one of my alumni who's consistently working on this drill sub 4 seconds. And I kind of wanted to do the same thing to see if I could achieve that goal consistently. Because remember, if you can do it once, it's not necessarily repeatable. It's got to be something that you can do consistently. So giving it the old attempt of trying to do it sub 4 seconds, here's my, my next attempt at a much tighter par time. I definitely met the standard of shooting at sub 4 seconds, but I wanted to see if I could get it any faster. So I tried it one more time. So my goal was sub 4 seconds. Both times I definitely achieved that goal. When you start working on this with the red dot handgun, if you're going to, you can also incorporate the draw stroke like I said. I like to use it as an isolation just like I do my cadence standards drill, which isn't much different from this drill. The distances are different, but the par times on the Sage Dynamics cadence standards are much tighter. However, there is a lot of value in this drill, and I think it's something that you should definitely incorporate into your practice. It does require a bit of ammunition, but it is something that can be done on an indoor shooting range, provided they allow you to shoot a little bit faster if you're going to go for, say, 8 second, 5 second. Once you get in trying to achieve it in the 5 second range, you're going to be shooting fast enough that most indoor ranges would probably frown on it or ask you to slow down because, for whatever reason, regardless of how we were shooting, they feel like that's unsafe, and that's a common thing that we see with indoor ranges. But if you have an outdoor range, access to an outdoor range, you can go as fast as you want as long as you can safely manage that sight picture. This is just one drill. I'm going to talk about other drills that I like to use for RDS specific handgun stuff in future videos. I'm Eric Allen with Sage Dynamics. Train accordingly.